Alright, so I'm going to do an overview of my SOPMOD Block II build. I see the phrase Block II being used to describe a lot of weapons that it doesn't really apply to. So I'm going to go over this one and explain why it's a SOPMOD Block II build and what are sort of some of the characteristics that make a weapon a Block II build. So start base, it's a LMT Defender 2000 with a 14.5-inch barrel. I went with LMT because of a couple reasons. One, they closely follow the TDP set out by the U.S. government. They don't follow it exactly, but pretty much it's one of the top tier manufacturers of ARs. And in California, where I'm at, you can't get Colts, so LMT was about as close as you can get. One cool thing about LMT is from the factory, you can get them California legal with a bullet button installed. This includes anything in their catalog, all their ARs, including their 308, their new MWS. So I'll work my way from front to back and describe the different features that make this weapon a Block II build. Up front, you got a Knights Armament NT4 flash hider. This is the issue flash hider for SOPMOD weapons. It allows an operator to mount an NT4 suppressor. This one right here was permanently modified and attached to the barrel to bring it to a legal 16 inches by Marvin Pitts and Nefarious Arms. He did a really clean job. You can see the pin and weld job right there. Front sight is a Knights Armament flip-up sight in tan. This is pretty much the only front sight I think that's actually in the supply chain. It's the only one I know of that has an NSN number. You can see it right there. Pretty simple. It flips up, flips down. There's no springs, there's no locks, it's just up and down. Most obvious difference between a Block II and a Block I is the rail system. Block II goes ahead and replaces the M4 RAS with a Daniel Defense RIS-2 in Dark Earth. This is one of the biggest improvements in my opinion for a couple of reasons. One, it's free floating, so it allows the user consistency. It doesn't matter what you put on the rail, it's not going to affect the point of impact too much. And two, it gives the user a lot of real estate, so if they employ a 3-gun technique or the Magpul style hold with their hand far out on the barrel, it gives them a good amount of real estate to get a good grip and control the barrel. Now the actual barrel on issue SOPMOD Block II weapons is a SOCOM profiled barrel where it's heavier after the gas block. This is a stock LMT upper, so it just has a regular government profile barrel. And something to point out, like I said before, LMT does a pretty good job of following the TDP, but it doesn't do it exactly. You can see here where they didn't parkerize under the front sight base. It's not gonna focus for me, but yeah, when I took the front sight base, you can see where it wasn't parkerized underneath. So anyway, I used a Daniel Defense Mark 12 low profile gas block. I believe the actual issued Block II kits use Knights Armament gas blocks, but I couldn't find one, so I didn't go with that. I went with the Daniel Defense. For a forward sling mount, I used the Knights Armament heavy duty RAS front sling swivel. It's the only one that I know of that actually has an NSN number, so it's the one I went with. The IR laser, the ANPEQ-15 replaces the PEQ-2. It's got a couple improvements. One, it's got a lot more reduced size. It's a bit more robust. The mount is built into it, unlike the PEQ-2 where you had to screw the mount in so you don't lose zero as much. It's got a visible laser, which makes it a lot easier to zero because you can do it during the daytime. It's a lot harder to have to zero your IR laser at night with nods because getting a good cheek weld and body position with nods is pretty hard. So that makes it a lot easier to zero the thing. It's a pretty good IR laser. It's got an illuminator like the PEC 2. It's not as powerful as the PEC 2's illuminator, but when you take that little screw out and you put it on the high settings, it's still pretty bright. It looks like a lightsaber shooting out the front of your gun when you're wearing nods. The optics, Block II optics, there's a couple of them. This is an LCAN Spectre DR SU230. It's a Gen 3. It's a little different than the one I previously reviewed. Biggest difference is cosmetic. You can see that it's more rounded in profile than the Gen 2, which is kind of boxy. The anodizing is also a little darker. It's not bronze, it's more of a chocolate color. Matches the RIS2 pretty well. Other optics that are issued as part of the Block II kit are the SU231. That's pretty much the military's name for the EOTech 553. I'm not a big EOTech fan. I've had a lot of them crap out on me. So I went with the LCAN over the EOTech. For backup sights, I used a standard 600 meter backup sight. Other kosher backup sights are the 300 to 600 meter Knights Armament sights. I went with this because I had one, and you know, it's cheap compared to the $150 for a Knights sight. Buttstock, it's a Generation 2 LMT SOPMOD stock in dark earth. This one right here is Generation 2, like I previously said. It's got a QD sling mount in the rear. I haven't seen any of these actually in military use. All the ones I've seen in military use are a Gen 1, but it's about as close as I can get. It came with a lower receiver, really good price. I'm not going to sell it for the fact that the one used by the military doesn't have a feature that I like. So pretty much these are the main characteristics that make a Block II a Block II. The RIS2 rail system is a big one. I mean, some Block II weapons still are using the old KAC M4 RAS, but the majority of them are switching over to the free-floating rail system. The optics, like I said before, SU230, SU231s are the main issued optics. There's some legacy aim points out there still, some ACOGs still floating around, but in general, people are switching over to the more modern optics. And the buttstocks, LMT SOPMOD stocks are the most commonly issued stocks that I'm seeing nowadays, but there's still, again, a lot of legacy M4 stocks. Even the original AR-15, kind of the CAR-15 style stocks you see in pictures sometimes, they don't phase out stuff that's not broken, it seems. So anyway, this has been a quick overview. Well, not really too quick, but it's been an overview of my SOPMOD Block II. If you got any questions, you can leave comments.